So what I'm going to do is just take you through a couple of things that we are going to be releasing soon that's going to be made available to some programs that already exist. So hopefully this is coming through. So it is going to be a live demo. I'll try and go slowly so that it doesn't bump up and down too much. But I did want to show you exactly what is going to be coming. So we've been doing some work over the last 18 months or so, looking at the way that we support long-term conditions within our existing program set. And one of the things that became clear was that the way that step two workers work with long-term conditions is a bit different to the way that we designed programs in the past, in that we'd had programs that were separate, that you would put people on, that focused a lot on the condition itself, and then introduced some techniques to help people work through those. But actually, the way that talking therapy services are set up, and the way that step two is intended to work, is that actually you focus on delivering the core interventions that the PWPs are trained in, but you adapt them to make it so that the people with long-term physical conditions can actually use the same interventions and the same content as people who don't have interventions. So the approach we've taken is we've built two new modules. These will be additional modules. So when people are working through their standard depression and or anxiety programs, the practitioner will be able to add these in so that you're giving the additional content to people who are on the standard programs that have been through the NICE evaluations and the NHS England DET process as well. So the first one is a standard living with a long-term condition program. So it's specifically focused on some of those adaptations that you would be trained to think about when you're going through your PWP training, and really helps people just to think about what is it that a long-term condition means for me, how does that affect me, and what are some of the things I can do to make sure that I'm able to engage in these interventions that we're talking about, and improve my depression and my anxiety. So we have things in here that PWP should be very familiar with. So we have diagrams that talk about things like boom and bust and pacing. We have specific tools that will overlap. So if you're using the mood monitor in your main program, that same mood monitor will appear here. So you can kind of link between the two, even though it's an additional module. And we also have introduced elements of ACT, so the type of treatment that would be more suitable for people with long-term conditions in some situations, and just helping people to think about how can I be compassionate to myself, and how can I help myself accept the things that are going on for me and accept the emotions that I'm feeling. We do have some specific exercises that, again, are based on ACT, and that might help people to help come to terms with the feelings that they're experiencing. Additionally, within this module, we talk specifically about avoidance. So that's one of those common patterns that you experience if you have a long-term condition. And in this case, we're using the trap and track approach that you might be familiar with in other programs. We have it within our perinatal program, for example, and help people to think about alternative approaches to that, to the coping that they're using at the moment. And then we also talk about self-care. So again, we've got diagrams. We can help people to think about everything that's going on in their life, and how they can make some changes to their daily habits. We do have quite a lot of content within these pages, so we have shortened it down. The idea would be that as a PWP, you might be signposting people not just to this particular module, but actually bookmarking specific pages that would be relevant to the other work that's going on within the other programs. And then we have added in a specific element around getting support, so not just with the support from your family and your friends, but also thinking about how you can get the most support you need out of your healthcare team as well. Again, fairly long page, that one. And then we do move on to some specific activity management. So this is where the boom and bust elements come in. So that's the first module. We have worked with a number of talking therapy services to just check that this is the approach that would work for them, and also go through the content to make sure that it's step 2 suitable. So that's that one. And then the second module that we've developed, similar, but this time focusing specifically on fatigue. So this program is aimed at people who, again, already are using a program and who has been identified as suffering from fatigue issues. And so the PWP again would add this program into their the wider modules that are available. They can be used alongside. It can be used alongside the new long-term condition module as well, or you can just do one or the other. You don't need to do both at the same time. And again, it just covers things like what is fatigue, what is it that I'm feeling, what is it, how is it different to tiredness, and some of the common problems that you can face when you are experiencing fatigue. And we do include a range of health warnings and elements where we would encourage people to go back and speak to someone if they haven't yet had those conversations. We talk specifically about brain fog. So again, a particularly common symptom that people would experience. So again, this would be the kind of thing where if you're working with somebody on your main program, you might unlock this module and then specifically refer to this page to help people understand that specific symptom. And it just prevents some of the behavior that we've heard of, which is that when people are working on a SilverCloud program, some PWPs are having to add some extra information outside of the program and send it to them in different ways. And so we're trying to just simplify that and make sure you've got everything you need all in one place. Okay. Again, we kind of use the standard process that we use in our other modules. So you'll find quizzes to help people understand what chronic fatigue is and what it isn't. And we focus specifically on psychoeducation and symptom management. And again, the main technique that we introduce is around pacing. And particularly, we have, again, a fairly involved piece of content, which is about managing activity, understanding about how you can avoid boom and bust, and then also flare-ups and relapse as well. So again, you might not want somebody working through the whole module all in one go, but you might want to signpost people to one specific page and get them to focus on things like flare-up triggers, for example. And then finally, we do have a specific activity tracker. And again, this is all about getting people to identify the things that they need to do in life, the things that they want to do in life, and keep track of what it is that they want to build back in, and carry out a plan to take that forward. Okay. I'll stop showing everything there. In terms of when this will be available, so anyone who's already a customer of SilverCloud and has access to the depression and anxiety programs, these modules will just be added in as an option for you to use as soon as we've managed to get them through our sign-off processes. So they're going through clinical review again at the moment. We've developed them with clinicians, but now we're going to an external clinician for some sign-off. And then we'll be making them available. So we anticipate that'll be around March this year. And when we do that, we will email out to service to let you know that these are available. So no end user, no patient would get access to these unless the clinician in charge of that person's care decides to add those in. And we will be providing module descriptions and information about what exactly is included in these, so that you can be sure that you're using it in the right situations and with the right people. And that's my 10 minutes, so I will stop there.